brought to you by Cheez-Its. We're going to turn our attention to the Red River matchup. I don't like saying Red River Rivalry. It's a little bit of a
Say it 3 times fast. You can do it.
It's hard. Texas at Oklahoma. We like to go there for that Texas-Oklahoma game. This is the 120th meeting between number 1 Texas and number 18 Oklahoma. This time down in Dallas. It's the 44th time they match up against as AP-ranked opponents, the second most all-time, but first time, of course, as SEC conference foes. Obviously, we haven't seen Qwin Ewers in a few times. We've been watching Arch Manning out there. HD, what are your expectations for him as he gets going again?
I think he's going to come back hitting on all cylinders. Before he went out with his injuries, he was, connecting with his wide receivers, his tight end, his running backs. And I really think when you have an experienced quarterback in a rivalry game like he's going to play today, Texas versus Oklahoma, having that veteran quarterback is dynamic from Texas standpoint. And when you look at 2 years ago, he was able to he got hurt actually,
right.
Came back in this game specifically, threw for 289 yards, 4 touchdowns, and won the game 49-0. Now, this is a different Oklahoma team at this point because Brent Venables, what he's been able to build or whatnot, the defense is playing top-notch. But I believe in Qwin Ewers, and he has the weapons on the outside and also the offensive line to protect him. What he can't do today is take unnecessary shots.
Yep.
Live to play another down. If it's not there, throw it away. Get down. Don't take unnecessary hits.
I just got to say real fast, I really respect our crowd over here for saying they don't care. These guys are locked in.
Yes.
Okay, like these guys really get it. Look, with Qwin Ewers, it's interesting. Like you hear people talk about this supposed quarterback battle. Hey man, it ain't no battle. Okay, like Qwin Ewers is that guy. HD, we talked earlier about the way that he came back from injury last year and what he showed. I think that you're really going to see that against this Oklahoma team today. But it is also interesting because Brent Venables has this thing rewired in such a way where this is not an offensive-heavy team anymore. These guys play defense the way that they played when he was the defensive coordinator at Clemson. And a guy like Danny Stutzman really reminds me of a lot of the linebackers that he had in that system, the way that he leads and the way that he plays. I think that's going to be challenging for Qwin Ewers. I don't know that it's going to be enough for them to overcome this football game.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about Arch Manning because we did get to see a few games out of him. And he was a lot more, I think he was a lot better than a lot of people expected him to be when he went out there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what did you see out of him in the few games that he played?
Has anybody had, and we've been playing college football for over 150 years, given the current circumstances, the climate of college football, you could transfer whatever you want. Has anybody had a better backup quarterback situation than Texas? Because Arch does not have to be there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there are many other places in college football that he could be starting. But look, he clearly has showed improvement because HD, you and I had both talked to coaches at that Texas staff that had said last year, like, hey, Arch is good, but he needs work. And based on the small sample size that we've seen from him this year, he got that working. And he is a much better player, and he's going to get better. But I think, again, if Qwin were to get hurt in this game, that's a great, viable backup quarterback option. But Qwin is still the guy. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about Brent Venables' defense because, as you mentioned, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
The Big 12 in general has historically been an offensive conference, but he's made his team very strong. Where do you expect them to put pressure on the Longhorns?
Well, I think number one, it's all about disguising coverages. Don't sit back there and let Qwin Ewers know the coverages that you're going to play on the back end. Stem late, disguise things. Also, blitzes. Give the illusion that you're going to bring a blitz from one side of the formation, but then disguise and stem out of that and bring the blitz from the opposing side. That's what we've seen from Brent Venables as a defensive coordinator when he was with the Clemson Tigers, when they were winning national championships. We've also seen that from him this season. That game against Tennessee, this defense of the Oklahoma Sooners, they stepped up and did their part. It was the offense that let them down in that matchup. You mentioned Danny Stutzman, one of the best linebackers in the country. Mason Thomas, hey, tied for 5th right now in sacking the quarterback. So the defensive line, the linebackers, we know those guys are going to be on point. But you have to be deceptive. Disguise coverages and make life crazy for Qwin Ewers.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, look, and I think the defense is going to be key, especially because you've got the freshman quarterback playing.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to give him opportunities to make mistakes because he's going to make mistakes. So it's not opportunities for him to make mistakes, opportunities for him to recover from the mistakes that he is inevitably going to make, especially because, and we talked about this before the show, how ferocious that Texas defense is at all 3 levels, especially that defensive line. And that can get to you mentally. So, look, he already sort of had a test against Tennessee, and you kind of got some flavors of that, but today is going to be different.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the true freshman, Michael Hawkins. What did you see out of what he was able to do last week?
Oh my gosh, like it wasn't even just last week, it was that Tennessee game.
Yep.
Watching that was so painful because it was like there's just no, like not only were they not moving the football, but you could tell the body language and the demeanor of that Oklahoma offense was just dead. And once he came in, it was finally like, all right, like we got something now, right? And so I think that brings a lot for you mentally, but he also has that big playability as well. So the fact that you actually have life, have a chance, especially in a game like today's, I think just him bringing that is so huge for them. Because, again, I feel like if Jackson Arnold was playing this game today, I would pick Texas to win this by 3 touchdowns.
100%. And when you talk about that Texas defense, that's why I think it's also imperative for the Oklahoma defense to back their young quarterback. When you look at Colin Simmons, who is a freshman coming off the edge, sacking the quarterback, leading Texas right now with 4 sacks, his get-off, his bend around the corner, the ability to be able to utilize his hands, this young man has really took this defense to another level. You already have Ethan Burke. You also have David Benda. You have Anthony Hill Jr. You have a lot of playmakers on defense for Texas, but they have to make sure they bottle up the quarterback of Oklahoma and do not let him get loose in this rivalry game that they lost a season ago.
A lot of fried food is going to be had today there in Dallas, Texas. That game, 3:30 p.m. on ABC.